Hello everyone and welcome to this first session in the main auditorium today at Spark 2022. Delighted to see you all, and without further ado, I'm going to introduce Christy Naimo, who will be chairing this session on arts, health and well-being. All right, enjoy.
Thank you. Thank you, Bronwyn. That's always a heart-racing video to follow. Welcome everybody. I'm really pleased to be here again for the third time at Spark, actually, presenting a topic around how arts and creativity can have a positive impact on our health and well-being, which I think many of us know already. So as Bronwyn said, my name is Christy Naimo, and I'm also very delighted to welcome a panel of new speakers today who have not been here at Spark previously. Asma Ahmedabadi from Warwickshire County Council and Craig Ashley from Coventry University. So between the three of us, we're going to give you sort of a broad overview really of arts, health and well-being, and it really is broad and wide-ranging. And we're going to do our best to present to you about the different sectors who have an impact and have an involvement on arts and creativity and our health. Obviously, we're not going to be able to cover everything, and we will have an opportunity for you to ask questions at the end. So we're each going to speak for about 10 minutes, and then at the end of all the presentations, we'll hopefully have 15 or 20 minutes for you to ask questions, but if you don't get a chance to ask them today, please do come and talk to us. We're all going to be around the event for most of the day. We're really passionate about our subject, and we'd really love to come and talk to you further. So I will now kick things off and talking about arts, health and well-being from a community perspective. So Christy from Achieving Results in Communities, or ARC. We're a local community interest company that have been working here in Warwick District for nearly 11 years around supporting people to engage with the outdoors for the benefits of their health, physical health and mental health and well-being. We've been running Wellbeing in Nature programs probably for over 6 years. You might be familiar with the Foundry Wood Community Woodland here in Lamington Spa, and we started running a program here, as I say, nearly 6 years ago, for people to come and spend time together outdoors, for anyone really who might be struggling with their mental health, feeling lonely, or just needing to reconnect. We use the 5 ways to well-being for most of our interventions and our activities, and for those who are not familiar with this, it's a really simple but very effective sort of methodology, as you can see here. People come together and connect with each other, connect in an outdoor space. We're active, so we might do some physical exercise. Just getting up to the woodland is being active, or we might do some caretaking of the wood. We will take notice, so we'll check in with ourselves, see how we're doing, check in with each other, take notice of the natural environment around us and the change of seasons. We'll keep learning. This is where the sort of creative element tends to come into our activities. So we will share craft activities or different skills. Participants to the group will bring those and share them with others. And we will give. Give is something that I think we all do when we come together, whether that's giving our time, volunteering, or listening to somebody, giving an ear. Like many people, well, like all of us, I think, we had to adapt during COVID over the last couple of years, and we also, like many others, had to deliver services online for a short time, which was challenging. However, we were really fortunate and very excited, as you can see from this photo, which was actually taken in August in 2020, when we were actually able to come back together outdoors in a safe environment, socially distanced, but also reconnecting once again. And as you can see here with a comment from one of the participants that reconnecting again was really important for helping to socialise, and after experiencing social anxiety, which a lot of people did and do during COVID. Something about coming together and being creative together as well also helps to build confidence, learning new skills and sharing new skills, which is a really important aspect of the sessions that we run. Another really important aspect is that we deliver these free of charge for anyone who wants to come to them, and that's really important to us. That obviously means that we rely on funding and commissioning, which we'll talk a little bit about later on in Asama's presentation. But I just wanted to mention that is crucial, that we can actually continue to deliver these services. Some of the commissioning that is actually taking place now across the county we're actually involved in as partners as well. So we last year teamed up with Escape Arts, who we actually met here at Spark a couple of years ago. So, one collaboration that was already taking place as a result of Spark. And we delivered a 6-week creative wellbeing in nature course, again using the 5 ways to wellbeing and bringing people together to take part in a number of activities. Many of these inspired by nature, but also by the arts. And here you can see an example of haiku writing. Hopefully people are familiar with the Japanese style of poetry of writing a haiku. It has a very simple structure, formula, but is also very fluid and open, and is often written in the moment and inspired by nature. So it seemed very appropriate that we would write these haikus on a leaf, on a natural element, choose our words carefully and wisely, and be very present in that moment. Another collaboration, which actually came about because of Spark, is working with Arts Uplift, who I know have a stall here today outside. I'd really encourage you to go and have a look, because they're doing fantastic work across the county in all sorts of different areas around creativity and well-being. Arts Uplift came up to Foundry Wood and ran a script writing course with us last summer, which was an unusual setting perhaps for script writing, but again, a different environment, helping people to relax, to open up that creativity. And as you can see here from feedback from a participant, they left feeling uplifted and confident, which is, what more could you ask for? I just wanted to touch upon some other aspects that are becoming more, and I know will be mentioned a little bit more later on, is specific interventions, for example, around singing for dementia, and I know there's a lot of this going on. Just one example, a colleague Jill runs a Singing for Joy for dementia here in Lamington Spa, and I know I feel so uplifted once I come back from my community choir and I'm singing, and so music and song has such a huge impact on all of us, a positive impact. The work that we do at ARC is not all specifically around wellbeing interventions. Some of the projects that we're involved in are more subtle. For example, we have been working with the Friends of Priory Park to create an arts and nature trail in the park in the centre of Warwick. If people are not familiar with Priory Park, I'd really encourage you to go and visit. It's a magical sort of woodland wonderland that's right in the centre of Warwick, between the railway station and the town centre. And we worked with a chainsaw carver who is a sculptor to create these amazing sculptures out of wood, out of dead wood in the park. And as well as using nature for inspiration, he also worked with the community to come up with the ideas, and hopefully this will inspire people as they are walking around the park and give some joy. Other community collaborations that we're involved in, many of you are probably familiar with the Lamington Lantern Parade, which takes place in the town centre each year, organised by the Lamington Business Improvement District. And last year we decided, well, for various reasons, to run the lantern making workshops at Foundry Wood. It was outdoors, it's a COVID-safe setting, and again, a fantastic opportunity for families in particular to come together to create something and, as mentioned here, build memories that will last a lifetime. So those are just some of the examples of the projects that we're involved in at ARC. I just want to finish really and mention 2 things, or just highlight 2 things. First of all, about people and community and collaboration. You can see that a lot of these projects have come about because of people working together, and I feel that, in myself, I need to work with other people. It helps me, helps my well-being, and we spark off each other. So it's really crucial that these activities and these things take place when we've got great people involved. And secondly, quite importantly, is about funding. like many of us, we rely on commissioning and funding in order for these activities to be free of charge for people to come along to. And so it is really crucial that we can build the evidence base about how beneficial the arts and creativity is for our health and well-being in order to make a case to the powers that be that, that these are really important things that need to be funded and need continuous funding as well. So that leads us in quite nicely to our next speaker, who actually comes from Warwickshire County Council, who are one of the commissioning services. Asma Ahmedabadi is a commissioner for the Health and Wellbeing and Self-Care section at Warwickshire County Council, and they've recently actually commissioned a suite of 6 creative health programs using the arts to promote social connectivity and improve our well-being. Asma is also going to talk to us a little bit about social prescribing, which is something we've touched upon in this session previously, and the various networks across Warwickshire. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. That was great. It's lovely to hear about things happening in the community. So yeah, that's me, Asma. I'm from Warwickshire County Council. Like Christy said, Health, Wellbeing and Self-Care team, and I'm a commissioner for the Creative Health Programs. So just as an introduction, I'm going to give you a little bit of background information on what is social prescribing, why is this important. I'll give you an overview of the 6 creative health programs that we've commissioned, talk a little bit about the Warwickshire Social Prescribing Network, and then talk about the evaluation of our programs, of the creative health programs. So what is social prescribing? In its simplest term, social prescribing is a non-medical intervention for individuals who want to support their health and well-being and take greater control of their own health. Social prescriptions are activities and services local to individuals, and they enable health professionals to connect these individuals to those services. And it's important to note that it's services that are right for that individual. So why is this important? Why have we embarked on this creative health program? So the idea is to use the arts to promote social connectivity and improve well-being across the life course, so right from infants all the way up to the elderly as well. So the Arts, Health and Wellbeing report that was published in 2017 concluded that the arts can help keep us well, and it can also aid our recovery and support longer lives, better lived, and also they can help meet the challenges that are facing health and social care. We all know about the pressures that are on, social care, so it can help with things like aging and long-term conditions, specifically loneliness and mental health as well. There's a researcher named Dr. Daisy Fancourt. She's a British researcher, and she's got this great quote where she says that the ambition is to see people engaging with the arts, and it's seen as a health behavior, just like physical activity and healthy eating. So yeah, I think that's kind of a great way to round it up in a holistic way. So just a bit of background about our program. So we've received funding for £300,000 a year to run the programs for 2.5 years. As I mentioned earlier, these are social prescription offers to increase the uptake of community-based health promoting activities. And this can also help to mitigate against the growing demands on our healthcare system. And it's important to note as well that all our programs are free for participants as well. So just to start with, I'll talk about the Parents and Infants program. So this is a 6-week creative arts sessions offering social support for antenatal and new parents and carers. So there's a concept known as the 1001 critical days, and it's basically the 1001 days is from conception to age 2. And research shows us that if we can improve the well-being of parents in that critical period and promote the development of secure attachment relationships between the parent and the child, then we can improve longer-term outcomes for children. So the idea of these programs is to get parents together and help with their loneliness, isolation, any mental health challenges, and just give parents that space to kind of be at one with their child. I say parent, but it's for parents and carers, so it's like a loose loose term. Referrals to this program are by practitioners, so health visitors, midwives, and GPs. It's delivered jointly by Bernardo's and Arts Connect. We're still in the early stages of the program, so we've just recently launched some of the programs in January, so we don't have a lot of data yet, but it is up and running now. So next I want to talk about the Children and Young People program. So again, this is a 6-week creative arts program for children and young people who may be experiencing mild to moderate mental health challenges. One of the key things about this program is that we're looking at it from a co-production perspective, so with children and young people. So they've established a young ambassadors group. So working with the people that are going to be using the program to see what's important to them and what they want to see. And referrals can be made to this program by health and social care professionals. And again, this is also delivered by Bernardo's and Arts Connect, and still in the early stages of this program as well. Next, I want to talk about the Adults Arts on Referral program. So this is probably one of our biggest ones. We've got a wide range of programs from all sorts of things like Zentangling, painting for pleasure, passion for plants. There's a wide range of programs. And it's about bringing people together to share their life experiences, and then through the creative process, strengthen their identity and help them to take control over their lives and their futures. With this one, again, so referrals by health and social care professionals, but also individuals can self-refer to the program. This program's been running for 1 year now, and we've delivered 73 courses, mainly online, and we've engaged over 588 people. So it's been a really successful program. Just a few quotes from people. I particularly enjoyed the conversations during the art lessons, even though some of them were tough. So again, it's about bringing people together to talk about their challenges and try to help each other overcome them. For the first time in a long time, I feel excited about what I'm doing, and I've met such lovely people. I've learned to use art to relax and learn new skills. I found it difficult this last year with the pandemic, and although it took me many weeks to open up, when I did, it felt good. So again, a lot of these programs, we had to change them around a bit, because initially they were all meant to be in person, but then obviously COVID came along, so everything had to be moved online. But it's worked really well with these programs as well. And it's helped people who still have some anxiety about going out to still be able to take part in something, but do it in the comfort of their own home. I'm not going to talk a lot about this one, Adults Arts on Nature, because Christy's already done a great job talking about it. But again, it's a wide range of programs to improve engagement with the natural environment and the outdoors. So we've done some Tai Chi, ceramics, all sorts of different things. You can self-refer to this program as well, and referrals can be made by healthcare professionals as well. Again, some quotes. Excellent experience, focused my mind, have used the techniques outside of the course. I feel more motivated and interested in nature. So again, it's about getting people out again after the pandemic and getting them more engaged with nature. The other course we have is the Arts for Dementia. Christy mentioned Arts Uplift. This one's delivered by Arts Uplift, and it's specifically for people living with dementia and their carers. So the outcomes of the program are to improve their quality of life, reduce stress and anxiety, reduce loneliness and isolation, and also increase social connectedness. And it's important to note that this is for both the person living with dementia as well as their carer. It's really important to us about kind of working on that relationship and improving that connectivity. You can self-refer to this program, and again, this one as well, we're in the early stages, but we do have some courses running throughout the county. This is a great quote from somebody who's recently completed one of the courses. So she was talking about her mom, who's had Alzheimer's for 2 years. Some days are better than others. If anybody's got somebody, a loved one that has got Alzheimer's, they know that some days are better than others. Life before the project was harder because she was staying at home with few interactions, and it's harder for the carer as well because they've got to find ways to help that person keep busy, I guess. So she was relying on her to create activities daily, but her mom found the sessions really enjoyable, and they'd put a smile on her face. The final program is the Singing for Lung Health. Now, this one is specifically for adults with chronic respiratory conditions. So it's a supportive and sociable way for participants with long-term respiratory conditions to experience the health benefits of singing and learning breathing exercises. These are specific 10-week courses based on the group-based virtual sessions, and they're led by singing specialists. Referrals to these are specifically by hospital physiotherapists and GPs, and it's run by a group called Breathe Arts Health Research. I love this photo here. This was one of our singing sessions. So with these, we've had to do them all online. And this was one of the sessions we had before Christmas on Teams, and you can see everyone's just loving it, singing their hearts out. And, you know, a quote from one of the individuals: "Thank you for these brilliant sessions." And they're talking about how they've not had to use their inhaler as much, and they feel like their lung capacity is improving, and they really enjoy singing, so that's helped them a lot. Next, I just wanted to quickly touch on the Warwickshire Social Prescribing Network. So as I mentioned, these are all identified as social prescription offers. So we've got a social prescribing network in Warwickshire. We're bringing together social prescribers, voluntary and community sector, and other stakeholders to collaborate and to share best practices, and also to help steer and shape what the social prescribing ecosystem looks like in Warwickshire. I think these slides are going to be shared afterwards, so I've put my colleague's email address on there. You can email her if you'd like to join the network. So finally, I want to talk about the evaluation of the program. So there is a lot of research out there about creative health and arts and how it helps us with our health and well-being. And it was really important to us to add to that research and to get that information as well. So we're working with researchers at Coventry University to evaluate the program. We're using a system called the WEMWEBS system, and we're also collecting qualitative data by interviewing participants. So not just the participants that completed the course, but the ones that didn't and the ones that registered and didn't complete as well, just to get a full picture of what people thought about the program. So the first report is due out in May 2022, and the idea is to use the report, the data that we get, to then apply for further funding and long-term funding. So finally, I just wanted to put up the website. I don't know if that's very clear, but if you want any more information about our programs, please feel free to visit our website. It's just warwickshire.gov.uk/creativehealth. I think we're going to take questions afterwards, so I'll pass it back over to Christy. Thank you.
Thanks, Asma. That's great. Fantastic to see the range of activities going across the county, and the fact that it's tied into our healthcare service as well. So speaking of the county, we're now going to look at things a little bit more broadly and wider. Craig Ashley is the Associate Head of Enterprise and Innovation at the School of Art and Design at Coventry University. So yes, he's going to sort of, as I say, broaden things out, talk a bit about how design can influence the wider concepts of our health and well-being. So looking at this across the Midlands, in Coventry and locally as well. Thanks, Craig.
Thanks very much, Christy. I just need to point out, this isn't G&T, this is water, as well as I opened it noisily. Apologies. Although a G&T would go down quite nicely, maybe at lunch. The bar's open, apparently. So thanks very much for the introduction. It's great to be here today, and really great to understand the quality and all the brilliant work being done. I've really enjoyed the opportunity to talk with Christy and Asma around the programs that they're developing and shaping, and as Asma just mentioned, that building evidence base, which kind of gives us a sense of where we continue to argue for investment in arts, health, well-being, and that crossover. So, I think what I was keen to talk about today was use this opportunity just to broaden things out, to think about what comes next, to think how a university can support more broadly that ecology. Thinking about growth and the scale of work across arts, health, well-being, what is needed to create to support a creative, often freelance workforce responding to the growing need. Talked about that challenge in terms of social care, and if we're asking the arts to provide and support that, what kind of investment do we need moving forward? And in terms of employability and jobs, can we collaborate more effectively across sectors to ensure we have the pipeline of talent within our communities? Can we retain talent and the expertise locally and regionally? And specifically from a higher education perspective, where can a School of Art and Design or a Faculty of Arts and Humanities support with skills development and the gap between arts, health and wellbeing? So my role as Associate Head of School at the School of Art and Design is very much focused on partnerships and collaborations, and we've heard a lot about that. Thinking about how the way people work together, working with industries is key to my role, ensuring that programs we build support business, the wider ecology, and fostering innovation, new ways of working together. So, artists shape place. I think this, while placemaking can feel sometimes like something's being done to a community, I quite like the idea of the word shape in the mix, that collaboration within communities can help to shape what is already here. And I think Christy mentioned some of that work in terms of public realm and space, and how important that is to this conversation. So this slide is taken from the Visual Arts Strategy for the West Midlands, published by New Art West Midlands in 2019, just before the world changed. And I just relate to the pandemic and this slide, a place to start changing the world from. I don't think artists could be held responsible for the pandemic. It wasn't them that changed the world, but we can play a part in providing some of the solutions moving forward. And arguably, our region is better placed than most to support the regeneration or recovery from pandemic with these kind of major infrastructure investment. So among them, City of Culture, Commonwealth Games coming down the line, and things like the Midland Metropolitan University Hospital in Sandwell, which I'll come on to in a moment. So these are really kind of important investments, but it's how do we leverage or support artists, creative practitioners more broadly to engage, which is a really interesting area where I'm concerned. So just taking one of those areas, the City of Culture. So a key part of Coventry's Ask the West Midlands Combined Authority was around embedding creativity in the regeneration of the city. So opening opportunities for artists to be engaged. So this is a visualisation from Heather and Ivan Morrison, who were commissioned to make a playground for Bullyard. Although that doesn't look like Coventry in the background, this project has been delivered now. So if you go down to the Wave, the water park, you'll see the playground. And very much artists being embedded in that process, working with the council, and essentially disrupting or moving the way councils work to, rather than buy something off the shelf, create something very distinctive for the area. So within this, the public realm, the furniture is these long benches, encourage social interaction, places to come, dwell, meet, stay, and it's very much changed the atmosphere in that space. And Heather and Ivan Morrison talk about their work as social sculpture. They talk about it as spaces to come together and be. And I think that's important in terms of this wider context of well-being. So within that, I think, what have we learned, what can we retain in terms of knowledge moving forward? One of the concerns might be that we lose, when City of Culture comes to an end, we lose this momentum around embedding creative practice in public realm. We lose the opportunities to put the knowledge into practice moving forward. There's also lessons learned in terms of the support artists need to be involved in projects like this. How do you scale up work? How do you bring this to a public space? What kind of support mechanisms are involved? And again, I think that's where a University School of Art and Design can be bringing people together, but also embedding curators into services like public realm regeneration within a city council. How can that kind of bring and broker relationships between sectors? So that's something else we're really interested in moving forward. Oh, sorry, I've jumped on how many slides there. So back to the School of Art and Design. Excuse me while I find my place for my notes. So this is a £64 million investment in our new building, the Delia Derbyshire campus. Some of you might be familiar with the old Graham Sutherland building. At this moment in time, an investment in arts and humanities is pretty significant. And I think that's the belief of the university, of the role of our faculty in supporting creative industries moving forward. And part of that is it's a live conversation with industry. Collaboration is key across disciplines. My school represents from architecture to transport design to visual arts, a whole range of subjects that collaborate and interchange. How do we think about our cities, the way we move, and the way we experience those spaces? So partnerships between academics and communities. This was our MA Architecture programme, working with Marshmallow Laser Feast and Mjork Mediale on the Observations on Being project in London Road Cemetery as part of City of Culture. Our students working with City of Culture on the design for the volunteer, the host, city hosts. So you'll see these very visibly out in Coventry at the moment. And then moving forward, projects, really exciting projects like this. This is the Coventry River Cultural Programme, looking at deculverting Coventry's hidden river, the River Sherborne that runs under the city, and creating a new destination, a new piece of public realm. And again, it's about embedding some of this learning that we've engaged in over the City of Culture year and the 4 years running up to that. I think it's a journey, but thinking about how we create the opportunities for artists, creative practitioners moving forward. And it's not fixing something, it's about creating a framework where things can continue to happen. So this project, I just wanted to kind of share, I think, creating a new green space within a city, giving an opportunity to build a community of interest rather than just catering for communities. It's how communities can form around something of mutual interest, and establishing a new cultural destination. So there's, that desire to go back to a city centre after pandemic, when the needs of the high street are changing too, and that relationship to economic investment within a city or an urban centre. So within this project, Coventry University is heading up the cultural programme, and we're looking at the design, the feel, and the output of that space at the moment. Thinking about structures like this. This is an image off Wikipedia, a graduation tower, which historically has been used to remove salt from the atmosphere and is used in health in terms of improving air quality. So again, within the city centre, how do you bring kind of stories and narratives like this to a public space? When you're revealing water, you're thinking about air quality, you're thinking about a different type of existence within this space. So partnership key to this particular project. The City Council, Historic Coventry Trust, the partners on the capital development, Coventry University leading the cultural programme, but then working with the Business Improvement District, Warwickshire Wildlife Trust, Open Theatre and others, to really make sure that communities are invested in. Between these partners, we have a reach that kind of covers the whole of the city, really, but it also gives us the opportunity to keep the doors open for further conversation. This space will exist, obviously, beyond the 3-year funding that we've just secured from Historic England. Moving forward, I should say on that, we've just appointed a curator as well. So this idea of embedding curators into spaces and acting as brokers between creative communities and the infrastructure, our local authorities, our business improvement districts, those roles are key, I think, to bring in an expertise and a perspective that we perhaps don't have. And we need to think about how we organise ourselves moving forward there, and how we can make arguments for those roles to exist, going back to the employability element and really thinking about how we pay artists. It's about livelihoods, essentially, and being able to invest in the local ecology. So I mentioned earlier I was going to talk about the Midland Metropolitan University Hospital. So this project is underway. It's one of 10 new hospitals being built across the UK, due to open in 2023. It's called the Midland Metropolitan University Hospital. Coventry University isn't a partner in the build, but we are a partner through New Art West Midlands in the commissioning project, the Arts and Commissions programme. And I think that gives access to this broader context, again, of place shaping. So the hospital is at the centre of a master plan for Smethwick over in Sandwell, that really thinks about regeneration, that thinks about new businesses, opportunities for that wider economy, jobs and employability being at the heart of that. But how do we shape the way that place looks and feels, I think, is key. So the Arts and Health programme focuses very much, of course, on health and being healthy, but thinking about sustainability and green, thinking about financial and economical responsibility, inclusive, diverse, fundamentally about growth in terms of arts provision as well, and how that is funded and supported and built in integrally before the hospital opens, not afterwards. So we're thinking within this space, a new community gallery that's made by the community. We're not just building a gallery and hanging works in it. It's really thinking about the making of a gallery once the hospital opens. And this could be the site of a new arts venue. You know, we think often about galleries and museums, but actually, can the hospital be a new type of arts centre? Can it host the kind of activity that supports the wider health ecology? And what do we need to make that happen in terms of working relationships? So again, it's thinking about that, those curatorial expertise in terms of brokerage. It's talking about the clinicians and the challenges that are faced. It's thinking about the workforce and how we can support with, you know, their health and well-being in a very kind of challenging environment, delivering to a huge population. In this case, it's going to be quite a huge facility, arguably the largest A&E in Europe, and a huge maternity wing welcoming the next generation to Sandwell and West Birmingham. So I think, I don't know how I'm doing for time, but I'm just going to keep going. But essentially, this feeds back into kind of funding priorities. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about Arts Council England and the Let's Create strategy and their investment principles. So ambition, quality, dynamism, inclusivity and relevance, environmental responsibility. Attending to those investment principles, I think, is really important moving forward. And health, well-being sits centrally across these areas. The dynamism particularly in terms of looking at that partnership and collaborative working, how the infrastructure of health in this country interacts with arts, I think is something to build on moving forward. And then if you look at, you know, the central government's focus on the levelling up agenda and the priority places across the UK, Sandwell is one of 100 priority places. You've got some statistics there in terms of engagement, 30% engagement with arts and culture. You know, you can compare that to where we are now in terms of a 62%. I read that right? Yeah, 62%. It's a very different kind of context. So how can these initiatives support further engagement and deliver on the, you know, objectives essentially to support the wider social infrastructure of the country? And just to finish, I wanted to come a little bit closer to home, although this is a picture of St Ives in Cornwall, which is perhaps where we might want to be, and we're looking towards the summer already. This is the extension at Tate St Ives, which was made by Jamie Faber Architects. And the relevance to Coventry is that Jamie Faber has just been commissioned to build a new Maggie Centre on the site of University Hospital, Coventry and Warwickshire, on the site at Walsgrave within the nature reserve. I wasn't aware that Walsgrave Hospital had a nature reserve, but this kind of idea of bringing a new health context into the site of a hospital, and very specifically Maggie's looking at the quality of the human experience, thinking about foregrounding or centering on human experiences in the way a space is designed, the way it's made, and the quality of that in terms of improving health and well-being for cancer patients and their support networks. So Maggie's, if you haven't had a look at it, is absolutely incredible organisation. Coming to Coventry, the Coventry one will be the first in the West Midlands. There's about 26, I think, nationally, a couple internationally too. And it foregrounds, as I say, world-class architecture and the quality of design and that experience of social engagement and care and looking after each other as part of the quality of, an experience, so that we don't just focus on, in this case, cancer and obviously it's the circumstances of that. So I just wanted to share that because I think that presents an amazing opportunity for us to reflect as a Coventry and Warwickshire space on where we might go next. Just think about the possibilities. So that's Maggie's address. They are still fundraising for it, so have a look. It's some way off. They need to raise that. I think it's £5 million. But we're talking to them about how you can kind of, again, fill those gaps in terms of skills and expertise. And I think that's what it's about, really. I think that segue into the next session on creative freelance practice is something to connect to as well. So I think that's it from me. Okay, thanks very much.
Hugely exciting projects and opportunities there. And we did say this was quite a broad range and broad-reaching topic, arts and health and well-being. So hopefully we've just given you a little bit of a taste of it today, really, and some food for thought and some inspiration. I know Craig is particularly keen to speak to people and meet people here at this event, individuals, organisations who might be able to, help with some of those initiatives as well. So I think we have now maybe 10, 15 minutes to do some questions. And Bronwyn has the microphone in a box. I don't know what this thing's called. So if anyone has any questions, so to save us running around, if you have a question for us, any of us on the panel, just put your hand up and Bronwyn is going to throw this very soft microphone to you and you just speak into it and then we'll all be able to hear your question. Does nobody want to have a microphone thrown at them? Great. It's in the middle there, Yeah, and I'm going to sit down also.
Okay. Yay!
It's a question mostly for Asma. I was interested in the way your programs, a lot of them need referrals from health practitioners, and I wondered, you just say something very quickly about how you approached them and got their collaboration, buy-in, whatever.
Yep.
Oh, is this working? Yeah. Fabulous. I think a lot of people have asked questions about the creative health programs and how we've managed to kind of get it up and running in Warwickshire. And I think one of the key things is that our Director of Public Health, Emily van de Vente, who's now left the organisation recently, she was a big champion of this program. She really believed in it and she really believed in the research. She's taken part in some of the research as well. And I think she was a big driver for this program. So there was a lot of work done initially when we got the funding to speak to various different stakeholders, specifically in the NHS. And NHS like data, they like numbers. So, showing them what the data shows and how beneficial this can actually be for people. And once we got the programs up and running, again, it was just engaging. So there's a lot of collaboration, there's a lot of networking with them and engaging with them, letting them know what's happening with the programs so that we can get those referrals. it's mainly for the parents and infants and the children, young people. For the other ones, we take referrals, self-referrals as well, because even social prescribers can let people know about all the different programs that are happening and then get them to either self-refer or the social prescribers can refer. Does that answer your question? Yeah, okay.
Great. Thank you, Asma. And anyone else for a question for anyone on the panel? For all of us?
You can lob it back to me.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a question at the front.
Oh, yeah? Great.
Yeah.
She's not very good at capturing. Hello, is this a question for you? So how long do the programmes last in terms of weeks with you're saying parents and children? What's the sort of rotation or length of what they sign up to?
Yeah, so the initial courses are 6-week courses for the arts. Well, the arts and nature, I think some of them are 3. We've got various different ones. There's 3-week courses and there's 6-week courses as well. Even with the adults arts on referral, there are 3-week courses as well, at 6 weeks, and then there's taster sessions too. So I think the best bet would be to go on to their websites, because they'll advertise on there, because they run throughout the year. At various different times. And with the arts and nature, we found that obviously we struggled through the winter because nobody really wants to be outside. And also Omicron came into the picture in December, so people were a little bit more anxious about going out. So yeah, there's various different lengths. It's only the Singing for Lung Health that's a specific 10-week course. All the other ones, what they're trying to do is they're trying to kind of work with the people that are attending them to chip and change as they need to, because that's the idea, isn't it? You want it to work for the local people that are going to attend the courses. There's no point having a 10-week course when people can't commit to that.
Yeah. Thank you.
I would just add to that the 6-week courses are, in a way, an introduction, aren't they? And particularly at the moment, for a lot of people, a stepping stone maybe to something else, because we, can't always solve everything, and in six weeks goes very quickly, especially if you're just having, say, a 2-hour session a week. So a lot of organisations like ourselves and others will run programs that are ongoing in order to have that continuous sort of intervention and support for people, because particularly if we're struggling with mental health, it's cyclical. It is something that isn't going to be resolved in 6 weeks. So yeah, that's sort of to our point about having continuous funding and needing these programs to be ongoing in order to provide that continuous support.
Yeah, just to add to that, that is one of the key things about the programs, is that there's signposting at the end of the program. So once you've completed 3-week session, 6-week session, 10-week session, there's other opportunities that you're signposted to. So there's other things that are happening in the community that you can tap into as well. And I think that's why the social prescribing network is really key as well, because it's bringing everybody together. So we all know about all the different services that are happening there. And also, it may be that the provision's not there, so there's a demand for singing groups, but there's not that many singing groups, or that's just an example, but in a specific area. So again, we can talk about these things in the network and then take that up to the powers that be to help us get those kinds of things established.
Yeah. Thank you. Shall I look this?
And last one, a question just sort of off to the left there.
Never mind, it's okay, no one saw.
So is it done? In terms of the potential for improving infrastructure, for meeting your aspirations, maybe personal or maybe corporate and organisational, I'm just wondering, are there any, in your view, this is a question to any of you three, are there any really, really good best practice examples of arts and health in other regions that you could cite? Something that would give a flavour of an aspiration, perhaps, for the area.
We first came across social prescribing, I think, many years ago, before Warwickshire kind of got on board with it. I think we went to a conference, was it over in Lincolnshire or something, with Hill Holt Wood, from our point of view, being a sort of arts and nature intervention. And we were really inspired by that. And they were saying, oh, well, you just need to tap into your social prescribing network. This was 6 years ago. There wasn't really anything like that happening around here. So that's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. I'm sure Warwickshire have been inspired by other areas as well. So it's great that Warwickshire are actually doing something now around these type of interventions. Asma?
In terms of regional best practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, like I said, Emily van de Venter, who's our Associate Director of Public Health, she was a big champion for it, and she knew a lot about what was happening in terms of creative health in different areas. I think the other thing is that although there is a lot of research out there, it's still limited, and it's not that quantitative data that people are looking for that really brings in the money, essentially. So I think that's why it was key for this program as well, that we get that data and, we can then take that. The idea, so normally, I think in most regions, these creative health type things are funded by the NHS. So they're like short-term funding, let's try this out. And sometimes people look at it as it's a nice thing to do. So, arts, pretty pictures, nice things that you make, and everybody's happy, and yeah, okay, let's try something different now. But